The 2024 presidential election is rapidly approaching. Former President Donald Trump is again seeking the Republican nomination. However, his campaign has encountered early obstacles. Trump faces a slew of legal challenges and a divided Republican Party. His campaign events have drawn smaller crowds than in previous years. The enthusiasm surrounding his candidacy appears to have waned. These challenges raise questions about Trump's ability to secure the nomination. His path to the White House seems more precarious than ever. Will he be able to overcome these hurdles and regain his momentum? The answer remains uncertain. The coming months will be crucial for Trump. He must find a way to energize his base and broaden his appeal. Failure to do so could spell disaster for his presidential aspirations. Trump has always been a polarizing figure. His brash style and controversial statements have often drawn criticism. In the past, he seemed to relish confrontation and court controversy. However, his recent campaign appearances suggest a shift in strategy. He has been noticeably more subdued and reserved. He appears to be avoiding tough questions and shying away from the press.
This change in demeanor is likely a calculated move. Trump's advisors are aware of his tendency for gaffes and inflammatory remarks. They understand that such behavior could alienate moderate voters. By avoiding difficult questions and limiting his exposure to the media, Trump is attempting to control his message. He is trying to avoid situations where he might make mistakes or say something damaging to his campaign.
Trump's aversion to tough questions has led him to seek out safer spaces. Over the past few years, he has increasingly avoided traditional press conferences and interviews where he might face difficult or unexpected questions. Instead, he prefers environments where he can control the narrative and avoid scrutiny. He is increasingly focusing on rallies and events where he can control the narrative. These settings allow him to present his message without interruption or challenge, ensuring that his points are delivered exactly as he intends. These events often feature adoring crowds and limited media access. The atmosphere is carefully curated to be supportive and enthusiastic, creating a sense of unity and strength among his base.
This strategy allows Trump to speak directly to his base without facing scrutiny from journalists or pushback from opponents. By doing so, he can reinforce his key messages and rally his supporters around common themes and goals. He can deliver his message unfiltered and reinforce his supporters' existing beliefs. This direct communication helps to solidify their loyalty and ensures that his narrative remains consistent and unchallenged. While this approach may appeal to Trump's base, it does little to broaden his appeal. By focusing solely on his core supporters, he risks alienating undecided voters and those who may be on the fence about his policies. By avoiding challenging environments, he limits his ability to connect with undecided voters. These voters often seek more comprehensive answers and a willingness to engage with different perspectives, something that is less likely to happen in controlled settings. This strategy could backfire in the long run. If voters perceive that he is unwilling to face tough questions or engage with broader audiences, it could undermine his credibility and weaken his overall campaign.
Trump's shift to safer spaces is a gamble. While it may provide short-term benefits by energizing his base, it also carries significant risks. It remains to be seen whether this strategy will help or hinder his campaign in the months ahead. The true test will be whether he can maintain his support while also reaching out to a broader audience. Section 4. Aiding and abetting the media's role in Trump's strategy. The media plays a significant role in shaping public perception. In the modern age, where information is disseminated at lightning speed, the media's influence cannot be overstated. It acts as a gatekeeper, deciding which stories are told and how they are framed. This power can be wielded to either bolster or undermine political figures and their campaigns.
In Trump's case, the media's coverage of his campaign, or lack thereof, can either amplify or mitigate his strategic shift. When the media focuses extensively on his rallies and speeches, it can create a sense of momentum and inevitability around his campaign. Conversely, when media outlets choose to ignore or downplay his events, it can diminish his visibility and impact.
Some media outlets, particularly those with a conservative slant, have been criticized for providing Trump with a platform without holding him accountable. These outlets often present his statements unchallenged, allowing his narrative to go unchecked. This can create an echo chamber effect where his supporters are only exposed to favorable coverage, reinforcing their existing beliefs.
These outlets often air his rallies and speeches in their entirety, giving him a megaphone to reach a wider audience. By broadcasting his events live, they provide him with free publicity and a direct line to the public. This unfiltered access can be a powerful tool for any politician, allowing them to bypass traditional media gatekeepers.
However, other media organizations have taken a more critical approach. They scrutinize his actions and statements, providing context and analysis that can challenge his narrative. This type of coverage can expose inconsistencies and falsehoods, offering the public a more nuanced view of his campaign.
They have highlighted Trump's avoidance of tough questions and his reliance on friendly audiences. By pointing out these tactics, critical media outlets can undermine his image as a transparent and accountable leader. This can erode public trust and raise questions about his suitability for office.
They have also scrutinized his policies and statements, providing a counterpoint to his rhetoric. Fact-checking and in-depth analysis can reveal the gaps between his promises and the reality of his proposals. This type of journalism is essential for an informed electorate, helping voters make decisions based on facts rather than rhetoric.
The media's coverage of Trump's campaign is likely to have a significant impact on the outcome of the election. The way his actions and statements are reported can shape public opinion and influence voter behavior. In a closely contested race, media coverage can be a deciding factor.
If he continues to avoid scrutiny and control the narrative, it could benefit him in the short term. By dominating the media landscape with his message, he can drown out his opponents and keep the focus on his agenda. This can create a sense of inevitability around his campaign, making it difficult for challengers to gain traction.
However, if the media holds him accountable and exposes his vulnerabilities, it could damage his chances of winning. Rigorous journalism that highlights his weaknesses and challenges his claims can shift public perception. In the long run, a well-informed electorate is essential for a healthy democracy, and the media plays a crucial role in ensuring that voters have the information they need to make informed choices. Section 5. A question of character, voter perceptions, and concerns. Trump's strategy of seeking out safer spaces raises concerns about his willingness to engage in open and honest dialogue with the American people. This approach has led many to question his transparency and openness, which are critical qualities for any leader. By avoiding challenging environments, Trump may be sending a message that he is not prepared to face the tough questions that come with the presidency.
His avoidance of tough questions and his attacks on the media could be perceived as signs of weakness or insecurity. When a leader consistently undermines the press, it can erode public trust and create a sense of division. The media plays a crucial role in holding leaders accountable, and Trump's antagonistic stance may be seen as an attempt to dodge accountability.
Voters may question whether Trump is capable of handling the pressure and scrutiny that come with being president. The ability to remain composed and articulate under pressure is a key trait for any leader. If Trump appears flustered or evasive when faced with difficult questions, it could lead voters to doubt his competence and resilience.
They may also wonder if he is truly interested in representing all Americans or only those who agree with him. A president must be a unifying figure, capable of bridging divides and addressing the concerns of all citizens, regardless of their political affiliations. If Trump is perceived as catering only to his base, it could alienate a significant portion of the electorate.
Trump's behavior could alienate moderate and independent voters who value transparency and accountability. These voters often play a decisive role in elections, and their support can be pivotal. If they feel that Trump is not forthcoming or is avoiding critical issues, they may be less likely to support him.
These voters may be turned off by his unwillingness to engage in substantive debate and his tendency to resort to personal attacks. Constructive dialogue and respectful discourse are essential for a healthy democracy. When a leader dismisses opposing viewpoints and resorts to name-calling, it can create a toxic political environment.
Trump's actions speak louder than words. His conduct on the campaign trail, including how he interacts with voters and handles criticism, will be closely scrutinized. Voters are looking for a leader who can rise above the fray and demonstrate integrity and strength.
His behavior on the campaign trail could ultimately determine whether voters see him as a leader or a liability. The way he navigates the challenges of the campaign will provide insight into his potential presidency. Voters will be watching closely to see if he can unite the country and lead with conviction.